What happens if you have a skirmish game inspired by All for Mankind, except without the drama? You get Lunar. Roll that credit, please. Well, it's time I review this game. It's basically a skirmish game made by Black Site Studios, and it finally arrived in the mail over like a month ago, and I've been dying to review this. As you can see, I'm doing a um, pre-recording on this one. I got it, and this is what you get for the contents of the box. You got the miniatures, like 10 miniatures, five split into five, and you got, it's basically a 30 millimeter scale, a bunch of astronauts and cosmonauts. You can it's basically made out of resin. You build them up. It's set in a alternate universe. It's not for all mankind if you think about that series, but this is a different universe. Except there's other factions. They're like the corporations, the ROC, and the European Union. As you can see here for the box, the contents on it, and you got like cards, base, and resin figures. You When you assemble this as a resin figure, it's recommended that you wash them first, then dry them up, then assemble. And you got the cards in here, and for the characters for both factions, tokens, and more cards for item packs. And these cards are basically the one who packed it. There are two of them. So as a collector, packed by Tracy. Yeah, it comes in the box, similar to a Bolt Action where they have Marla as the who packs it. But this is how that worked for the resin and MDF. You guys in their Black Site Studio, or you can get this for pretty a reasonable price. Except this one's like around close to 70, I think, or 80, plus the shipping and handling. And as for the figures, it's 30 millimeter. I was kind of drawn to this because it was basically astronauts and cosmonauts fighting in the moon, like All for Mankind. I just recently finished the entire series for now, for including the latest one. So, but you got this figures for a very decent price. If you are really want to get a break from the big 40K stuff or other massive miniatures, and you just want a skirmish game with a friend, this is it for you. And they what I look from the Lunar from Black Site studio owners, they got their stuff in there. That's pretty decent stuff. And as for the book, and here's everything like I read through it, and it tells you about the factions and who they are representing, the of course how to play the game, and it's very interesting. You can here are the astronauts and cosmonauts and taikonauts, and you there's also rules and the backstory. And here's the backstory written back on the manual. So this will um, tell you what happened. Basically, the Soviets got to the moon first, and the Americans decided to follow. It's kind of like similar to All Mankind, and about 10 years later, another third party joined up. It looks like the corporation decided to claim a part of the moon. So they got three parties, and there are other minor factions. So this game is basically, there's multiple factions playing in here. You got like the ROC, the Republic of China, no PRC. That's the kind of thing that I'm. It's like what the according to this universe, the Chinese Civil War looks the nationalists won against the communists. So they might be still there. We don't know. So we didn't tell much, but I suspect they have like a little territory of their own, probably somewhere close to Russia or something. But and you can always add them up if you're thing. What I'm very interested in this game because it's a very interesting the gameplay. When I read the manual, it it forces you with more stuff. For the gameplay, since this is taking in the moon, you are to it does every action you take will spend like an oxygen and also credits, and weapons is not very abundant in here, so you might have to rely on close quarters or whatever tools you can have as a close quarters weapon. As you can see here, I had painted my miniatures already, and I chose NASA and the Soviet cosmonauts, and they came out pretty well for these figures. Like I said, there are other factions, the ROC and the corporations, so you can really add some flavor into it, and you can have like I say, if the miners are revolting and you get to send a security team to stop these miners, I'm gonna call these security team the Pinkertons, and it's set in the it will jump like around the 80s, so it's pretty freaking. That's another plus side too. So if you don't like that Cold War stuff, you can have like corporations or spying stuff like or you can just like say there's a defector in the Soviet Union want to defect to the U.S. You can have that too in here. Well, it's very interesting how this universe is gonna expand. There's also rules for rovers and um mini drones. They can also assist in combat, like those little mini rovers, and you can add them as your crew. They go into a crew, so you can go in the gameplay. You could either have like a standard afternoon skirmish, or you can have a campaign. So you can get credit or your missions. You do some research and all that stuff. Yeah, it's in the manual. You can start a campaign or a single skirmish game. Everything you need is in there, from dice to cards to tokens and rulers. They're all in there. Like, you can get it in that old starter set. That will get you start playing. All you gotta do is just assemble the miniatures and paint them up, and you're good to go, and get yourself a map and a friend to play, and that's it. Well, as you can see, if you want to get this game, I recommend you get it. And there's also expansion for this game, and they already released the ROC, the vehicles, and the corporation astronauts. As we speak right now, this Friday they're gonna release the European Union, so that's another set of 5 factions of astronauts you can have. There's also weapons fact they release. Hopefully they'll have even more weapons in here. So, and you don't have to stick to this universe if you don't want to. You can create your own faction just using the rules. You can have like Moon Marines versus Soviet cosmonaut guards army fighting in the moon. Hell, you can have them fight on the Mars or in the Jovian systems. It could happen. Maybe it did happen or something. I don't know. Kind of like that game Battlezone 98. Shh, no one must know. As you can see, just get them. I recommend getting this if you want to break from the main players, and if you don't want to build a massive army like in 40K, and you can just get this and get a friend and play. And I recommend checking this out. You could probably find this in your local hobby store, or if you can, if you look at Amazon or on eBay, it's not out yet, so I recommend going to the Black Site Studios. They have other genre besides this, so I suggest you check it out if you're interested in this kind of stuff, like I did with Spaceship. It has astronauts in it fighting in the moon. What else you can get from that these days? So this is my review for Black Site Studios Lunar, a skirmish game. This is Delion Francis 60 here. Signing off, Houston.